Hello and a very good morning, a very good afternoon, and a very good evening to all the tenthers. And please take all those morning, afternoons, and the evenings based on the time in which you'll be watching this video. I'm hoping you all are doing fine and doing well along with members of your family, and also you all are keeping yourself busy with some amount of study and also trying to learn newer skills and also doing something which will be keeping or which will keep you occupied. When we are okay, now let us just we were talking about the revolt of 1857, and we were talking of the various reasons and the various causes which led to the revolt of the 1857. We discussed about the economic causes, the political causes, and the social causes. Now, one of the most important cause, none of or no revolt can be done without the help of some armed or arms and ammunition, or also by the help of the military or by people who are willing to take up arms. So, by willing to take up arms, we are talking about the military, and so there were a few military or some causes based on the military causes which led to the revolt of the 1857. When we talk of the military causes which led to the revolt of the 1857, one of the most important cause was that the Indians or the Bengal army, it was known as the Bengal army, the Indian army which was maintained by the Britishers, or the Indian troops which was maintained by the Britishers, was known as the Bengal army because the army was first stationed and also was first raised in Bengal, because Bengal was the first province to be captured entirely by the Britishers. That is why the name stuck, Bengal Army. And the Bengal Army, the sepoys of the Bengal Army or the soldiers of the Bengal Army who were Indian, they had no prospects of promotion. This was a very important reason why people or why the soldiers were upset with the policies of the Britishers. There was no prospect of promotion, and the highest rank which could be attained by an Indian was that of a Subedar. And even though the skills of the Indian soldiers were not taken into account, and even if a young and an unskilled or a totally non-skilled European would come or a Britisher would come, he would have been given a higher rank than that of a elder and a very skilled Indian. That was one of the reasons what angered the the Indians, and also because of this, the Indians were paid low, very low, as compared to that of the Britishers. Another very important reason which did lead to the revolt of the 1857 was the faulty distribution of troops. Now, by faulty distribution of troops, we are meaning that the troops were not stationed in places or in the strategically important places. Like in Delhi, the amount of troops which was stationed was very less, but Delhi was a very strategically important area because Delhi was still the seat of the Mughal Empire. And if the Mughal Empire wanted, it could have raised its head and it could have challenged the British authority. That is why there was faulty distribution of troops, which did lead to initial successes of Indians in the revolt of the 1857. One another important reason or another important military cause was that the amount or the number of troops or the ratio between the Indians and the Britishers in the Bengal army was very disproportionate. The amount of Indians, or there was just maybe one officer to a few thousands of Indian soldiers. So there was one British officer for a few thousand Indian soldiers. So there was this disproportion over here. This disproportion came in handy for the Indian troops when the revolt started, because those a few thousand Indian soldiers could easily overtake one or a few British officers and then overpower them. That was what exactly happened during the revolt. Now, another important reason which was there, it is that that Bengal army, there was no caste division over there. So people were herded, or the different castes, different religions, the people are belonging to those different castes and those religions were made to stand together and were made to or they were grouped together. This was something which was not acceptable to the Indians. It hurt the religious and the social sentiments of the Indians, and that is one of the reasons why those Indian soldiers were unhappy. Also, to be kept in mind is that we did talk about earlier that there was this annexation of Awadh. The annexation of Awadh also upset a few or a large number of Awadhi soldiers. The Bengal army had a large number of Awadhi soldiers, or soldiers from the Suba, or the soldiers from the province of Awadh. And those soldiers, due to the treatment meted out to their relatives and to their near and dear ones in Awadh, those soldiers who were stationed in the Bengal army, they were angry and they were upset with the Britishers. there was another thing that the Britishers had suffered heavily in the first Afghan war, and that had caused some amount of, or that had put a dent in the image of the British army and the British soldiers. The Indians understood that it was not so that the Britishers could not be defeated, and the Indians understood that if they could unite, they could defeat the Britishers. Now, another reason was that the Indians were made to, or forced to, the Indian soldiers, especially the Hindus, they were forced to serve out or away from the homeland or away from India. That was something which did interfere with the religious sentiments of the Hindu soldiers, because it was a superstition kind of thing. The Indians were superstitious that traveling outwards or traveling beyond the borders of India would actually cause loss of, or will make a person lose his religion and his identity and his caste. So the Indians did not want to travel outwards or move out to different other places. The Britishers actually used the Indian troops so as to gain more and more colonies in different continents. So the Indian troops were being used by the Britishers so as to gain more colonies. This was one of the reasons why the Indians were again upset, because this hurt their religious sentiments directly. There was this General Service Enlistment Act, in which the Britishers could make anyone in that Bengal army serve anywhere in India, and they would also not be paid any extra bhatta, or bhatta meaning any extra money for that. Previously, the Bengal army soldiers who used to serve out away from their homeland or away from their area, they were given a special allowance, so as because they were serving outwards. But this bhatta was removed, and this was another reason why the Indian soldiers were angry with their British masters or the British officers. But the most important reason, we all talk about revolutions. We have read of the American Revolution, we have read of the French Revolution, we have read about we are reading about this revolution of 1857. There was the First World War, Second World War. All the wars, all the revolts, every one of them have a single issue or a single point which actually inflames the entire thing. The gun, I mean, the kerosene was already there, and there was, what was required was that one matchstick to be struck, and that matchstick happened to be the introduction of the Enfield rifles in the case of the revolt of 1857. Previously, there was the Brown Bess rifles, but after the introduction of the Enfield rifles, previously, if you have seen old movies, you may have seen that the soldiers, they used to have a rifle which is having a huge or a long barrel, and the gunpowder used to come in cartridges. That cartridge had to be torn off, and then the gunpowder had to be inserted into that barrel or that long pipe like structure of the rifle, and then that had to be shoved down with a long iron stick of or iron stick like of kind of thing, and then it was ready to be fired. Now that cartridge which was, or the Enfield rifle which was introduced, the cartridge of that Enfield rifle, it was a rumor spread that that cartridge, or that the top of that cartridge which had to be bitten off, was made up of fat of cow and pig. Now, cow for the Hindus, it was considered holy, or it is considered holy, and pig is considered haram, or something which is not pious or unclean for the Muslims. Now, this was perceived by the Indians, both the Hindus and the Muslims, as a direct attack or a direct assault on their religious sentiments and their emotions, and that became the firing point, or that became the one incident which actually inflamed the entire country. If we say that this revolt of 1857 spread to the entire country, it was not so. This this revolt of 1857 was actually spread, or was just prevalent in India, or the revolt happened in a few pockets of India. Nearly the southern parts of India, the western parts of India, most of the northern parts of India, they did not participate in the revolution. One of the most important reasons for this is that there was no concept of India before 1857, because I have said in previous lectures also that it was during the Mughals, during the Mughal times, a few times earlier, like during the times of the Guptas, and also once during the time of the Mauryas. It was only during these 3-4 times that India was the entire whole which we see today, a bit more or less, but then it was nearly what we see as today. But rest of the time India was not the complete country which we see today. There was no concept of nationalism in the Indians because the Indians were divided. There was, or India had never been the entire country together except for a few or except for a few empires which existed in India. That is why there was no concept of nationalism. And when the revolt started, there was, or people of the entire country did not come together because they knew that everyone and those who were fighting, they were fighting for their, mostly for their own selfish benefits. So when we talk of the revolt of 1857, one of the most important reason why why the revolt of 1857 failed was that there was no concept of nationalism in the Indians. Indians were not divided. Everyone, it is also, or later archives, and it has been seen afterwards, and historians say that there were many Indians who actually sided with the Britishers because they knew that if the Britishers were to go away, then the privileges which some Indians were enjoying, like a few landlords who had been placed by the Britishers, a few kings who had been placed on the throne by the Britishers, and few merchants who were trading under the, or who were trading, who were gaining in trade under the British rule, those people would be losing if the Britishers were to be, or if the Britishers were removed by the Indians. That is why those people, or many people in India, did not want the Britishers to go away. That is why many sided with the Britishers, many actually fought against the Indians, siding with the Britishers. So this was the situation of the country. Another very important reason was that the Indian leaders who were fighting, or the Indian leaders who were leading the pockets or leading a few battalions in this revolt of 1857, they were not an organized self. It means that there was no coordination amongst themselves. They were fighting in different pockets, in separate pockets, but no one was wanting to come together and fight the common enemy, that is the Britishers. Next, there another very important reason was that the Britishers were economically and also militarily, and they were superior, and they were also having lots and lots of resources which the Indians did not have. If you remember, in 1853 the first railway started in India between Mumbai and Thane, and gradually the railway system and the telegraph system spread to different parts of India. During the revolt of 1857, this railway system actually came in handy for the Britishers because they could use the railway system to carry troops from those areas which were unaffected to the areas which were affected by the revolt. That is why this railway system and the telegraph system actually helped the Britishers to overcome the initial setbacks which they faced from the Indians. Also, the Britishers were having much more strength militarily and economically. They were powered and they were financed by the government of England. Also, they were having lots and lots of arms and ammunitions and also modern weaponry. While the Indians were fighting with swords, the Britishers had their guns and cannons. So the arms and ammunition of the Indians were of no match to that of the Britishers. So we did lose this revolt of 1857, and this revolt of 1857, we Indians glorify this revolt, saying that this was the start of the national war of independence. But the Britishers tried to downplay this revolt, saying that this was just a Sepoy mutiny. Whatever it is, but then this revolt which we talk about, this revolt did have lots and lots of effects on the Indian subcontinent and also on the rule of the British East India Company on India. And we will be discussing about these effects and what they led to, or what this revolt led to, in the next video. And by that or by the next video, we will be wrapping up this chapter and moving on to the Indian national movements. Till then, please stay safe, be safe, and if there's any problem, please mention it in the comment section so that I can get back to you. Thank you.